Nice to see you all. Thank you. Questions?
Do you think there'll be some fallout with the register kerfuffle? Any more thoughts on that?
I don't know. Look, they took a candidate that's easily #1 in the polls by a long way, and they said, oh, gee, and you know, it's a very liberal newspaper. So somebody said they're actually afraid you're going to win, because I think we'd do very well. If we win this, I think we'll win the whole thing. We're going to do great with Hispanics, by the way. You've seen that. You know, in Nevada, I don't know if anybody got to witness this, but they just did a big poll in Nevada. I won Nevada and won the Hispanics, both very big. So we're very happy about that. No, it's, you know, with the register, I don't really think about the register. They've treated us very incorrectly, because they reported really very incorrectly. We like honest reporting. Okay, question? Yes, sir.
Years ago, you correctly identified a book says lying to get us into wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Yeah, there's a House and Senate resolution to release the 28 pages that were classified about who funded an attack without funding. Would you support the release of those 28 pages to the public?
I'd have to see it. I'd have to see it.
28 pages.
But you're right about, you know, I was opposed to Iraq. I'm a very militaristic person, I will tell you that. I would have a military that's so strong nobody would mess with us, but we should have never gotten into Iraq. We've created a mess, and Iran now is taking over Iraq after spending billions, trillions, $2 trillion, after spending all of that, thousands of lives, most importantly, and all of the wounded warriors who I love all over. It's something, and now what's going to happen? Iran is taking over Iraq. Stupid leadership. Stupid leadership. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, hi, Kate.
I spoke with a lot of voters out here who said they would follow you if you were going to run as an independent. How likely is that?
Well, I think this group, which, as you know, is the biggest crowd they've ever had, by far. Did you see the second room also, by the way? It's highly unlikely. I'm leading as a Republican. I want to run as a Republican. The best chance we have of winning is if I win as a Republican and go on, and I believe I'll beat Hillary or whoever it is, if Hillary even is able to run.
If you don't win as a Republican, will you go off and run?
I think, look, my attitude is it depends to a certain extent on the way I'm treated. We've had really great discussions with the RNC and Reince over the last few days. They see what's happening in the polls. You saw the Economist poll just came out last night, which was tremendous. It was almost double anybody else. It was double anybody else. And they see what's happening. You know, there's a movement going on. People are tired of incompetent politicians. And that's, by the way, on both sides. But people are tired of making bad deals with China and Mexico and Japan and Saudi Arabia and everybody we deal with. We don't have victories anymore. And people are tired of it. And that's what's happening to me.
The other voters I spoke with here talked about their desire to see you bring jobs back.
That's right. I'll bring them back from China.
How exactly are you going to do that? And is there a time frame for when you're going to lay out a policy plan?
Because I have the kind of a brain that's great for jobs. I am the kind of person that can get jobs back. I will bring them back from China. I will bring them back from Japan. I'll bring them back from Vietnam. I'll bring them back from Mexico. I'll bring them back from every place. I know how to do it. Nobody else. And by the way, Katie, no politician can do that.
Are we going to see details at some point, though?
Yeah, you'll see details. But basically, I'm telling you, I'll just bring them back. It's called negotiation. It's not so much details. It's called negotiation. We have people that are incompetent, our negotiators and our leaders. It's called negotiation.
The other thing that people said was that they were worried about you getting into office and maybe angering some people.
Just the opposite. Who do we get along with? We get along with nobody. We lose to every country, and they don't even like us. No country likes us. We couldn't get Sergeant Tamborisi out of a jail in Mexico, and they're making a fortune. Mexico, because they're smarter than our leaders, they're making a fortune. We couldn't get Sergeant Tamborisi until relatively recently. Okay? They don't like us. China doesn't like us. Russia hates us. Putin hates us. We have soft leadership. We have weak leadership, and the world hates us. With me, you'll have tough leadership, and the world will like us.
Will you ban other reporters if you become president? Will you ban people from the White House press corps?
No, not at all. I just don't respect the register. I have no respect for these people because every story they write is wrong, and in my opinion, purposely wrong. So, and they could be here. We didn't ban them. We just didn't give them credentials. Hey, we had a tremendous crowd of people in 2 rooms. They can be here, but they'll sit like everybody else. I'm not banning them. And you know what? When they start writing accurately, like you sometimes do, but not that often, when they start writing accurately, they're welcome. But they purposely write incredibly inaccurate stories. So they can come, but they have to sit with everybody else. Yes?
You said that you wouldn't run as a third party unless you weren't treated well.
Well, we're treated with respect because I have a lot of people that are with me. They're tired of seeing our country pushed around. Our country's being pushed around. So it's not just me. It's like when a certain person called 15,000 people crazies. That's very disrespectful to those people. There's a tremendous movement going on. And it's not about me, it's what I'm saying, it's the message. I think people like me, but it's about the message. I deliver the message properly because I understand what I'm talking about. I understand what I'm doing. The Republican National Committee has to respect those people, and they have to respect that message because it's a big message. You see that when The Economist has me at 28%. And don't forget, that's 28%, and we have 16 people. So we have 28% out of 16 people. Somebody said, well, 28 is, well, when you have 16 people running, and one of those people is at 28%, that's a very good poll. That's a great magazine and a very respected one. And that poll is a very high-level poll. So when you're at 28, and you see that kind, and with all of those people running, that's a big movement.
What about the Quinnipiac poll?
Go ahead, next
Says that
question.
unfavorably
Next question. Go ahead.
57%.
Go ahead.
Hi.
Why don't you sit down, Katie? Go ahead.
With the seriousness of Russian aggression, especially in the Ukraine,
It's true. It's a real problem.
with their economy being what it is because they put so much money into their military machine, with the deal in Iran that's opening up trade and China wanting Iranian oil and ready and able and willing to dump billions, if not trillions of
Right.
dollars into Iran.
No, Iran's going to be very rich.
And in the next few years, as Iran buys conventional weapons from Russia and that money, billions and trillions of dollars, heads into Russia, how would a Trump administration handle that triple-edged sword?
Okay, so one of the worst things that could have happened, and I've heard this over the years, the last 15, 20 years, is for China and Russia to be driven together. Obama has managed to drive them together. You have China and Russia as massive trading partners now, mostly having to do with oil. Okay? One of the worst things that could happen. We have a weak leader, we have weak government, and yet we don't get along with anybody, and we drove Russia right into the hands of China. One of the worst things. Honestly, it's all leadership and it's intelligence. Okay?
Scott Walker was one of the Republican defenders that was least aggressive, not criticizing you.
No, he was pretty aggressive, but that's okay.
You ripped into him today.
I did. You know why I did?
Threatened by his lead here in Iowa.
No, I'm not. But you know what? He was up in my office 4 months ago, 5 months ago, giving me an award. Give me an award. And I like Scott Walker. He's a nice guy. But today, one of his people hit me. And I said, why is he doing that? The person's a stupid person, but why is he doing that? Hit me. And I said, hey, now the gloves are off. And he hasn't been so nice to me, in all fairness. I mean, you know, he hasn't been. I'll tell you who's treated me with great respect is Senator Ted Cruz. And also Dr. Carson, who I think is a terrific person, by the way. No, Scott Walker has not been particularly nice to me, especially since he's been in my office, and I helped him. But the real truth is that Wisconsin's a mess right now. It's a mess from an economic standpoint. It's at the lower rung of countries, of states that are doing poorly and well. It's not doing well. And, you know, a lot of people think otherwise. But no, I would have been much more silent, in all fairness, had that not happened today. But he's got his fundraiser out there saying things about me that, by the way, happen to be the exact opposite. Okay? Yes? Oh, here's a question with energy. You go ahead.
Mr. Trump, sometimes you want to settle the score, like with Lindsey Graham or with the Register. If you were president, you think you could learn to let a few more things go?
Yeah, I would. It's a much different. it's a much different situation when you're president. But I think, people are not going to believe it. I get along great with people. But I get along great because they respect me. They don't respect President Obama. It's such a fair question. It's a much different exercise once you're there, much different. And you would do differently, you would do things differently. I'm like an intelligent person, very intelligent person. You do things differently. But I think I would get along very well with the world, most of it, far more than what they're doing now. Look at now, Russia, China, we don't get along with anybody, and everybody takes advantage of us. It's one thing if we don't get along and we're on top, but we don't get along and we're the patsy. We lose to everybody. I think I get along great. I think I'd get along great. I mean, I wouldn't be driving Russia into the lap of China, that I can tell you. Yes?
What would you hope to accomplish in the first debate, Mr. Trump?
I don't know. It's a very interesting thing. So they have the debates coming up. I'm by far number one, so I'm going to be there, much to the chagrin of many people. But I'm not a debater. I produce jobs. I never did that before. I never stood at a podium and debated a large number of people. And from what I heard, every one of them's going to come at me. I watch the shows like you do, and they will say, "Oh, hit Trump and hit Trump." I'm saying, what is this? For 2 hours, I'm going to be like in the lion's den, right? But I'm not, I don't do that for a living. I built a great company. I've had tremendous success. I've gone to the best school, I was good at everything I've done. But again, I'm standing at a podium, and I hear everybody saying how good I'm going to be in the debates. I don't know if I'm going to be good. I don't know. I have no idea. I've never done it before. Politicians do it every night, but they don't produce jobs. They don't do a lot of things. But, I look forward to the debates, but I've never done it before. It's a totally unique experience. I see where they say, well, Jeb Bush hasn't been on the stage in 8 years. Well, I haven't been on the stage my whole life. Nobody ever says that.
Are you doing any debate training?
I want to be honest. I have to be. I am who I am. And so you could say training. What training? And maybe it's a mistake. Maybe it's not a mistake. Who knows? I'm a very honorable person. I'm an honest person. These politicians, they don't make a statement. Look at Jeb as an example. They ask him, is Iraq a good thing or a bad thing? Took him 5 days to give an answer, right? Look at Hillary with her answer on the emails. She still doesn't understand it. They go in and see They go in and see their local whoever, their counselors, okay, their coaches, their pollsters. They all have pollsters. They have a pollster where they aren't allowed to say anything without the approval of the pollster. And they pay these guys hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars. I don't want a pollster. And you know what? If my message isn't getting across, that's okay. It's all right. I'll, go into the sunset, hopefully have a good life. I'm doing this because I want to make our country great. I know how to do it. So I don't have a pollster saying, oh, you shouldn't say this, you shouldn't say that. I just say what has to be said. Yes, ma'am.
Who's giving you policy advice? And can you
Well, I have a lot of policy advice, and I get a lot of it from reading lots of newspapers and seeing things on the various shows. I mean, I see what's happening. There are so many things that I disagree with, where it's so much common sense. And remember about policy, it changes every week. You have countries where you want to do one thing, and then a new leader takes over, it's a totally different thing. It changes all the time. Okay?
And can you elaborate on your call for a merit-based immigration system?
Well, I said it yesterday, and I mean, at some point, we're going to have to do, look, we have to build a border. And you can have combinations, the wall, but you can have certain areas territorially you don't need it, we have certain advantages. One of the most expensive things about building the wall, do you want to know? Environmental impact statement. They can't get an environmental impact statement. The environment. They can't build a wall because the environment. Because they're going to be affecting a toad, or they're going to be affecting an insect, or they're going to... Environmental impact statement. We need a wall. We need fencing. We need protection. And all you have to do is see what I saw a couple of days ago, where people are running across the border. And in a couple of cases, running across with satchels of drugs. And this wasn't me, this was Drudge. Drudge saw it better than anybody. We need protection. And by the way, they come over, they bring the drugs, and they take out the money. And as I said in my speech, we lose both ways. They bring in the drugs, bad. They take out the money, bad. We need smart people. Okay.
Mr. Trump, you said on CNN this week, you hope there's not much systemic racial discrimination in America. Do you think there's anything a president can do if there is systemic racial discrimination to ameliorate that? And what do you make of the Black Lives Matter movement too? Is that helpful in that?
Yeah, you need spirit. You really need spirit. And the country doesn't have spirit. And I've said often, I thought that Obama would not be a good president because I didn't think he had the experience, I didn't think he had the training, I didn't think he had the know-how. I did think he'd be a great cheerleader for the country. He's been a bad cheerleader. He's been a divider. You need spirit to bring people together. The country doesn't have spirit. It's like a broken country. Whether it's racial or lots of other things, economic. There's so many walls that are put up in this country. We're really a divided country. Okay, how about a couple more? Yes, sir.
A lot of your supporters outside said that they like you because you're the tell it as it is candidate. Governor Chris Christie is running on sort of the same platform. Last week in New Hampshire, he said that he'd make a better president because he's
better than who?
Well, he said he was asked about you.
I don't think he said that. I doubt he said he would make a better president.
Well, but
he did, then I can hit him too, right? I mean, all of these guys. He's a friend of mine. He's a nice guy. I mean, go ahead, finish it.
But he said that he has the experience and you can't say things like to Mitch McConnell, you're fired. And he's suggesting that the tell it as it is president needs to be somebody with a job experience. I mean, what do you make of those comments?
Who has better experience than me? I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've gotten rich because of politicians. If you can't do well with a politician, you shouldn't even be in business. I've gotten rich with politicians. Nobody deals with politicians better than I do. Nobody. And I'll bring it together. And I won't be signing executive orders every week because nobody can come into a room and you can't get people together. Because the country wasn't designed for executive orders. Not supposed to have executive. It's supposed to get people together and do compromise and make deals. And that's what I do. I'm a deal maker.
Oh, but the tax plan you're talking about there, where you attack the company to move the job to Mexico.
Yeah.
Is that not executive? How are you managing that?
Well, I would do it. I do it 4 or 5 different ways. There are many ways to do things. You know, you can do it with a conjunction of people. I tell you what, when I explain the situation, I'll be able to get people to agree with me. I don't think I'll have to do anything very dramatic. You know, when you hear these stories, they're just horror stories. And you know what? To do that, you're closing plants in Michigan, you're closing plants all over the place to build a massive plant in a country that's not going to do us any good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you're trying to demonstrate your support among veterans,
Yeah.
as you were today, there's a report out today that says that there are people listed as veterans for Trump who say that they were never contacted by the campaign.
Well, that I don't know. I mean, I can look. I have a big campaign. I have a lot of people. I can say in New Hampshire we're very, very popular. The veterans love me. I've done a lot for the veterans over the years, whether it's the Vietnam Memorial or the parade in 1995 or 1996 down Fifth Avenue, which was a great tribute to the veterans, really. That's what it was. We have tremendous support with the veterans. And I think more so than any other reason because they know I get things done. The veterans are living in hell. They have hospitals that cost hundreds of millions of dollars that don't work. And they don't have very many of them. And their waiting list as of Wednesday was the longest waiting list to see a doctor that they've ever had in the history of the VA. So we've had great support. I showed you those letters. That was one day. I wanted to get the others, but the office was far away. I said, get the others. You look at a stack, it's 10 times that high.
Did you intend to offend Senator McCain with your remarks?
Well, that's over with. I'm very disappointed in him for one reason. He's done a bad job with the vets. A bad, bad job for the vets. You can't do a worse job. And that's the problem with politicians. They're all talk, no action. They talk, 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 nothing happens. Energy. He wants to ask me an energy question.
Actually, I want to ask you about your corporate experience.
Great.
You've talked.
I haven't had it.
You've talked a lot about how you're different because you haven't had donations from corporations.
Right.
But you are kind of a CEO of a major corporation. You have a corporate mind. How will you appeal to the average American? And when you get into office, if you do get elected, how will you not help corporations because they're kind of you?
I want to help corporations that put our people to work. I don't need to help people that are building computers in China. Okay? I need to bring those people back here so we can build computers here, so we can build a lot of things here. And I thought you were going a different way, which is actually a better question, frankly. I thought you were going the way of the fact that everybody that's running virtually, I won't say, yeah, pretty much everybody, but They are controlled by people that gave them money. I don't need any money. I'm using my own money. And I will do what's right for the United States. I'm not doing what's right for a man that gave me $1 million to run for office, and I owe him. And when Bush gets $100 million plus, and when Hillary gets $50 million plus, every one of those people that put up money will control Bush. Control, I don't mean like a little bit. Bush is controlled by those people. Walker is controlled by those people. Hillary Clinton is controlled by those people. Trump has none of those people. I'm not controlled. I do what's right for the country.
What's your dream cabinet be?
Well, we could have some great cabinets. We have some amazing people that aren't used and aren't taken advantage of because they're not contributors. They don't donate. You know that better than anybody, Katie. I mean, a lot of people are right now raising money because they want to have a certain position in the cabinet, or they want to be an ambassador, which is, you know, one of the all-time.
So who do you like?
Oh, I can't say that now. It's too early. I have many, many people that would be great. I'll tell you one of the things that I would have is I'd have a lot of great people. I would use some great people as negotiators with other countries. That's a very important element because we're being sapped. We're being drained. Our money's being taken away from us. Our jobs are being taken away. And we would have the finest negotiators in the world.
Is there anyone in office right now that you like in a cabinet position?
Currently? There are people I like. Will I do better? I think so. I think I'll do better all around. Okay?
You said in an
No. This guy's unbelievable. Okay.
You said in an interview yesterday that you identify with some things that Democrats believe in. What issues are those?
Say it again.
You said in an interview yesterday that you
Yeah,
identify
I
with
disagree with what Bush. I was never a big Bush fan, to be honest. And the last thing we need is another one. When Bush let the banking scandal and the mortgage scandal and the exploding, I call them the exploding mortgages, get out of control. If you look back, you'll see, I said that was going to happen. That was too easy to predict. And what happened in that last period of time during the Bush administration should never have been allowed to happen. And that was building up for a long period of time. And a lot of other people, and some Republicans, including me, but a lot of people would not have let that happen. And that's what I'm referring to. And it was so bad that, in all fairness, anybody at that time running against Obama, we could have Abraham Lincoln bring him back from the dead, and he couldn't have won. Because Bush allowed things to happen that he should have never allowed to happen. Yes, ma'am.
You put in around $2 million of your own money into your campaign.
For which?
I said you put in around $2 million of
Yeah,
your own
around.
money into your campaign so far. How much more are you willing to put in? Is there a
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends how well I do.
But is there
Right now, I'm number one in just about, am I in every poll, right? Number one. Okay? A lot of them. Like, how about every, but I'm number one. Honestly, it depends on how well I do. Hey, look, if I see that I'm not doing well, it could be that my message at some point won't resonate. I don't go forward if it's not going to resonate. I know, you know, I mean, I'm a big boy. But right now, nobody has the message I have. We have to take our country back. We have to take our jobs back. We have to get our money back. Nobody has my message. And even if they tried to copy my message, they can't do it. I can. They wouldn't know where to begin. And on top of not knowing where, they're controlled by their lobbyists and special interests.
Is there a cap to how much you would give your own campaign?
No, no cap. You see what the numbers are. The numbers are
Would you match?
very much. No cap.
Would you match Jeb Bush amount, dollar for dollar?
I might. I mean, it could be. But the difference is Jeb Bush is using other people's money. OPM, you know what OPM is? Other people's money. And when he uses other people's money, those people are controlling him. He is controlled by those people. I don't mean a little bit. I mean a lot. And when it comes to building a job in Iowa or in some foreign country, and if those people working with Jeb Bush want that to be built someplace else, that's where it's going. He is controlled by those people. Okay, any other questions?
Mr. Trump, would you be less likely or more likely to pick a running mate from the other 15 candidates that are running?
It could happen. I have respect for some of the people that are running, for some of the 15 other candidates. I have a lot of respect for a couple of them, and for a few of them. Some I don't respect as much, you know, and some I don't respect at all, to be honest with
So I'm not, I know that you don't want to pick a name right now, I know better than that, but would you be probably more likely to pick from one of those 15
It could happen.
or
Sure.
the rest of
You
America?
have some very good people.
Okay.
I think you have some very good people.
Okay.
I mean, they only show the conflict. They don't show the fact that actually some of those people I like and respect.
Right.
They don't show them because that's not good television.
I've seen it.
You've seen it.
Yeah.
Can I get your thoughts on President Obama and his recent opening of trade relations with Cuba? And what your
Well,
opinions
I
are
think
on
it's
that?
I think it's fine, except I think we should make a better deal. I just think the deal's not good. I think the concept of opening Cuba is okay. It's fine. A lot of people like it. A lot of people don't like it. Sort of split down the middle. I think the concept is fine, but I think we should make a much better deal.
What would you do?
Well, I do a lot. It's very complicated, but I will tell you about that separately because I don't think these people want to hear about it. Okay. Okay. How about two more? Go ahead. Go ahead.
As a builder of many skyscrapers, you know they're built to be strong. And many people, according to a poll, 60% of Americans have some question about how those towers came down. And
The World Trade Center.
Yeah, and how the World Trade Center said was not even hit by a plane, and companies that were not investigated, like Ace Elevator Company, they're in the shafts from 1994 to 9/11. They were never even mentioned, much less investigated by Bush's.
Is this a conspiracy man right over here? What are we talking about? Okay.
Well, would you support it, or investigation?
Let me ask you a question in the back. I don't want to really discuss. What are you saying? Good. Who knocked down the World Trade Center? You're saying somebody else knocked it down?
Are calling for an independent investigation of
Okay.
people who.
Let me. Okay. What do you? Did you have a question behind?
Yes, I did. You said
I think we know what happened with the World Trade Center. Do we know what happened?
in an interview yesterday that you gave, you said you identify with something as a Democrat. I just want to ask you which ones.
You mean with some concepts?
Yes.
As I just said, I'm referring to that last period of time in the Bush administration that should have never been allowed to happen. I call them exploding mortgages. Nobody knew that or understood that better. I was telling people, don't let this happen. That should have never been allowed to happen, ever. And that was a disaster for the Republicans, and frankly, it was a disaster for the country. It wasn't a disaster for the Democrats because of that, they won the election that they shouldn't have won. You know. Okay, one more question. Yes, ma'am.
On domestic policy, what would your plan be for Social Security?
Save Social Security, great question. Bring back so much money and make our country so rich and great again that I won't have to cut Social Security, because I don't want to cut Social, and I'm the only one that can do that. Nobody else knows that. Every other candidate has to cut it, and the one or two that don't want to cut it have no idea where to get the money. I know where to get the money. We'll bring it back. So Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, what you do is work very hard to get rid of the fraud and abuse. Very, very hard. But I don't want to cut Social Security.
What do you think about the retirement age?
I'd leave it the same. These people, their whole lives, that's what that was supposed to be. That's like changing a deal. The only deal I would like to change is a deal we made with Iran, okay? Because that one's so egregious, it's going to lead to some very serious problems. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Katie.
Folks, if you want to cover departure, if you go out this door and out front, Mark, if you'll follow Mark, he will take you where you need to go. Well, I guess you did that one. They had a long couple days.
And nerve-wracking, isn't it?